Hello today. We're speaking right before Shabbat. And yesterday there was a gay pride march parade in Jerusalem. I've never been in a gay pride parade ever. Number one, I'm not gay, and number two, I just have never gone to see what it's like. I would have wanted to just to investigate it, but I was busy last night. Shlomo was able to go, and so I guess I'm going to ask him a few questions because in, there was a very important incident that happened at the parade. But I'm just going to ask Shlomo a few questions about what happened and what he saw there, and just to give us an idea of what exactly it was like. So Shlomo, what did you see at the parade, and what kind of things just popped out at you when you were there?
Well, I mean, first of all, it was my first time ever being at a gay parade. So I was really expecting the most flamboyant, really stereotypical ideas of what you think of a gay parade is. This wasn't what I thought it would be. There wasn't like thousands of people. It was a line of a few hundred people when I got there.
A few hundred, not even 1,000.
It wasn't that big. There might have maybe been 3,000, but there was several hundred people in line that I saw. It wasn't like a huge kind of event at all. It wasn't flamboyant. There wasn't anything pornographic about it. There wasn't anything obscene. It was a lot of people that were marching from one side from one part to the other in Jerusalem. It wasn't anything inappropriate. I think they were quite respectful towards the city.
And how were they respectful?
Oh, first of all, they weren't having any obscene images. They weren't.
No flamboyance.
They weren't hating on any other groups.
Not really cross-dressing, right?
Well, I mean, there was a cross-dresser speaker, but besides that, there really wasn't anything. Besides
and by the way,
that.
if we point in it is a sensitive thing in the city. Cross-dressing is very, very frowned upon, to say the least, in the religious community in Israel. So that, I guess, would be a vote of respect on their part, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, overall, it was a very well. It was well organized for the most part. The thing is, when I got there, I started filming my camera, and I was filming from the beginning towards the end, and then two police officers grabbed me and pulled me to the side, and they were asking me, why are you filming? Why do you have this camera? And I told them, well, I have this channel on YouTube, and I'm just reporting on the event. So I really had no idea what happened, and they obviously looked over my ID to see what was going on. I obviously have nothing. I've never been in jail or done anything wrong, so they let me go. And also I spoke English to a lady who needed help to Mamila, so it really wasn't anything more.
You pretty much destroyed the suspicious, their assumptions that you were a suspicious character. Explain what exactly. You've been in the Army, so what exactly do you think you did that made the police suspicious?
Well, the fact is that I was very out of place in a gay pride parade, because most religious people don't go to gay pride parades. And because I'm wearing a kippah and I have two teeth sticking out, it's really weird. And I think they also had a good reason to do that, because before I got there, a few minutes before, there was a stabbing by an ultra-Orthodox man who stabbed six people who were at the parade. So obviously the police were on heightened alert.
And that happened before you got there?
That happened before I got there. So, after the police let me go, I immediately went to speak to a woman who was speaking English, asked her if I could film her. And she didn't want to be on film, but she basically told me that she was really in shock about what happened, because she saw the whole thing. She saw the people getting stabbed. And it was really a shocker to her. She had absolutely, she just didn't want to be on camera, but she basically said that she made Aliyah about 10 years ago. She lives in Tel Aviv with her partner, and she's from America. She's lesbian. And she feels that, overall, Israel is not really that homophobic, but you have these incidents that happen from time to time. So, I really understood it, and I started walking through the line, asking people to be interviewed, which was, very hard, I guess, because after the shock, people don't really want to be interviewed. But also, Israelis in general, many of them don't speak that good English or don't speak English at all, so they feel uncomfortable speaking in English towards a camera. So as I made my way forward, I saw this other guy and obviously he didn't want to be on film. But I asked him, what happened here, what's going on, and he was a very old, it was an older guy, maybe in his 50s or 60s, and he basically had some negative things to say about Israel. He basically said that God is a homophobic God, the Jewish God is a homophobic God, hates gays. He also said that Israel is worse than Iran. And the treatment
Israel is worse than Iran.
which was very exaggerated. And he got a few stares from a few people there, like a disgusted face, like, "Are you seriously saying this?"
Because right now, Iran is executing gay people, even though they don't have gay people in Iran. That's what Mahmoud Ahmadinejad said a few years back. But it's an interesting. They're actually, that's what they do in Iran. They execute you. As far as I know, Israel does not have.
No, we don't have any death
They don't
penalty
even
at all.
execute. Yeah, they don't even execute murderers. So.
But anyways, this guy was obviously really shaken up, and he started talking about all this stuff of how Israel is a homophobic country, how it's just as bad as Iran, if not worse. And he got a few stares. So I just kept walking into Independence Park.
Did you try to ask him to rationalize those statements?
So I really didn't, because I don't think it would have really gone anywhere. And my whole point was to be objective as a journalist, and not go up and start trying to get confrontational, because then people don't want to talk to you.
That's right.
You need to be able to, in this business, you have to be able to be very, even-minded.
Correct.
So that was another thing that happened. So I went into the park, and obviously they were given all these different types of speeches, talking about tolerance, talking about acceptance. They had several speakers. You had a transsexual speaker who, she was, there. Basically, she was the main speaker for the night.
So you would refer to this person who transitioned from a man to a woman as a she.
Well, she looks like a she, so
she looks like a she. We'll call her a she.
So she was, talking about how, parents shouldn't be ashamed of their kids being gay, and everyone's welcome here at this party, and that there should be a complete healing for the people that were stabbed.
Did you get a chance to come close to ask her?
No, she was like the main person at the event.
Oh yeah.
And also, with that, it would just be too hard, because again, we're a very amateur kind of production.
And I think it was interesting. I think you said to me earlier today that you even saw some religious or Torah observant.
Oh yeah, they were Torah observant Jews. There was even an organization for religious women who were straight, who support gay people in the Orthodox.
What does that mean? They support gay people?
They support gay people in terms of making sure that they have a place for themselves in a synagogue, that they won't be kicked out.
Does that mean that they support gay marriage? Or?
No, I don't think it means that.
Just that they're not.
Just that they're not persecuting or alienating people who have those feelings that that are born that way. And overall, it was, you had all people, from religious Jews to Muslims.
Oh, Muslims were there?
Yeah,
really?
yeah.
Wow. What were they doing there?
You had Mohammed Zawabi that was there. I think.
Yeah, I think he's gay.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
So I think he was there talking to one of the media sources, where he was saying that basically Israel is the only country in the world where he feels completely safe being in the Middle East, that he feels completely safe being gay. So there was those stuff that was going on that was that was interesting. There was a whole variety of people, and I think.
So were these Muslims like Mohammed Zawabi, like friends of, like allies of Mohammed Zawabi, or were they just?
So I don't know if they were friends of Mohammed Zawabi or not, but there was a few. They weren't in the majority. There were a minority of people there that were Arabs.
Arab. Okay, and they supported, they were there to support gay rights.
They were there to support gay rights, and there were also religious people there that were also there to support gay rights.
See, that's very, very interesting. It's because on the one hand, at least what I'm hearing, on the one hand, you have this crazy lunatic act by one person who stabbed someone, and then on the other hand, which is like an act of zeal, and then on the other hand, you have this ability, because Jerusalem is a majority religious city, both Jewish and not Jewish. It's a religious city. You have religious people who come and at least observe or even show support for the cause. And of course, there's I don't know what the main cause of the parade was, what their main focus was, but it's really interesting how you can have that aspect. I don't know if that would, let's say, that would occur in a Tel Aviv Pride parade.
So I actually did ask a few people that,
Uh-huh.
and they said that they remember that also in Tel Aviv there were some incidents where there were attackers that did stab and hurt people at the parade.
Even in Tel Aviv.
Even in Tel Aviv.
This past year?
Not this past
Not
year.
this past year.
I think it would have been like a few years back that such an event happened. So I mean, it's pretty much everywhere. So I asked a few people. So the first person I interviewed was a woman with a sign. Well, no, before that, I went I ran into these guys who were Shomer Atzair.
Mm-hmm.
They're pretty much Boy Scouts,
Mm-hmm.
and they're not really a gay organization at all.
Mm-hmm.
But they're people that are like Boy Scout age that
Mm-hmm.
go to like different events across the country, and they were there to support gay rights at the Gay Pride Parade, which is, to me, it's kind of weird that you would bring a youth group like that to a
Yeah.
Gay Pride Parade.
Yeah.
But they were there, and they were there in strength.
Mm-hmm.
So there were those guys that I interviewed. I ran into a guy who had a gay Likud sign,
Oh yeah, yeah.
which seemed pretty weird, and I tried to get him to interview, but he didn't really have time to well, I tried to interview him, but I guess he didn't realize I was filming him. So he said that he didn't really have time to be filmed and stuff, and he really had to be on his way. But he told me, I could go out and ask other people.
Okay.
So I went on, and I met that lady that was the religious straight support
Mm-hmm.
for not alienating people from the community. Then I met this other young woman who was pretty much saying that I actually like what she's doing there. She had an interesting shirt on, so tried to find like interesting people to talk to. So she had a shirt on about transgenders and how she supports transgenders. She wasn't gay at all, but as far as I know, maybe she was, maybe she wasn't. But she said she comes to the parade every year, and that was the extent of it. I mean, after that, like it was really hard to get anybody to interview. So I wanted to find the Lehava guys who were protesting. I wanted to see where they were, and I really didn't have any luck finding them.
I think we can assume perhaps that the police probably removed them for
Security purposes.
public security purposes. Although, as far the Lahava group, I have to say that the Lahava group does not openly advocate for violence, and they are, you could consider them like a reactionary group, but they're not. They have a right to voice their opinion, and this guy who did the stabbing is not a member of Lahava.
Mm.
In fact, he's really his own guy, because
He was a lone wolf.
and I'm not even going to refer to him as an ultra orthodox or Haredi guy, even though he might look like one, because that would just put him in a category of a group of other people, and that's just not right to do, because it's like saying, well, so he was his own guy, and but it's really interesting. One last question I have to ask you is, do you think that perhaps maybe there wasn't much of a protest from, let's say, people who are sensitive to these issues, like the ultra-Orthodox, and even a large portion of the rest of the religious population? Do you think that there was not much of a protest because of the way this demonstration is respectful, the way you refer to it, and the fact that it's not as flamboyant as, let's say, it would be in Tel Aviv?
Yeah, I think so. And I myself had some reservations about this whole gay pride parade thing, and having in Jerusalem, I have some weird objections to it. But when I went there, it wasn't anything what I thought it was going to be. It seemed very respectful to me. It seemed that they weren't being too flamboyant, and pretty much the only thing they were talking about was just acceptance and tolerance and
Not
respecting other
policies?
people's. There were some policies that obviously there were people that were waving merit flags.
Yep.
The most left-wing Jewish political party in Israel was there in force, and obviously they support gay marriage, which obviously I can't for religious reasons. But overall, it's just a place where they came out just to support one another, promote tolerance and respect, and I have no problem with that, and I have no problem with the gay pride parade. You know, after what I saw and the people that I met.
You're saying you had no problem with the one that you saw yesterday?
You know, if that's pretty much what they're like every year, I have no problem with there being a gay pride parade, and I have no issue like with it being there at all. Because you know what, we can't be quiet about these issues. We have to be able to talk about these issues fluently,
Yep.
and we can't shove people in closets like we did in the 50s, because then people are going to be ashamed of who they are, and unfortunately, a lot of these people, you know, commit suicide later because they're not accepted in society.
They're not showing sensitivity. That's the most important thing.
So, you know, I think we have to show sensitivity to these people. We have to, you know, accept them for who they are. And, you know, religion aside, you know, they're human beings just like us. And, you know, they were very respectful. And I have no problem at all with them having a gay pride parade in Jerusalem, as long as, you know, they're respectful, they're not extraordinarily flamboyant, you know, they're peaceful, you know, they're not spewing hate towards anybody. And, you know, I have no problem.
It's very, very interesting. I have to say that I'm generally not so not because for ideological reasons and for religious reasons, I'm generally not comfortable about gay pride parades happening anywhere in Israel, because that I believe that it's not that, let's say, the Jewish culture has traditionally not advocated the public support or endorsement of the lifestyle. But I know I have gay friends, and I know gay people, and it's nothing against gay people themselves. It's just about what should the Jewish state reflect. But based on what you're saying to me, what you said to me, it seems that this is much less a parade and much more of like a demonstration. So I guess perhaps to me, perhaps that might be different than, let's say, your stereotypical gay pride parade, which I would not support. So it seems that this, unfortunately, you had that incident that happened, but it seems that this is much more about tolerance and respect than being flamboyant and in your face, which is something I will not support. So, Shlomo, I want to thank you for that. I think perhaps an interesting project would be maybe we could do something next year in Tel Aviv and try to maybe compare and see what we can get out of that. And
sure. And I definitely would like to go to this parade again with you next year.
Yes.
And for you to even take a look at it, and you can also give me a first-hand account of what you think as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Shlomo, thanks for sharing that with us, and wishing everybody Shabbat Shalom.
All right, Shabbat Shalom.